Today's review is on the McFarlane Toys Five Nights at Freddy's set from sister location Circus Control. This set is number 12695. It contains 160 pieces and it retails for about $20 in the United States. There's a link in the description where you can order this set online. Its official release date is June 15th, but some people have already found it in stores. McFarlane Toys is currently hosting a giveaway for some of the sets from Wave 3 of their Five Nights at Freddy's construction line. You can go to a link in the description to enter the contest between now and June 12th, 2017. Hey Brick fans, this is Dave. Before I jump into the rest of the review, I wanted to talk about how I got this set. Unlike every other set in Wave 3, I purchased this set myself from a store. McFarlane Toys did not send this to me for free, so this is one of the first McFarlane Toys sets I've actually purchased myself. I was able to find this at my local Target. The way I did that is I went to McFarlane Toys' website for this product and used the Where to Buy feature to find stores near me that had this in stock. So that's a great option if you want to try to find any of the sets from Wave 3 or any other wave of McFarlane Toys Five Nights at Freddy's sets. Go to their website, use the Where to Buy feature to try and find a store near you that has it in stock. And it's always good to call the store ahead of time to ask them if they have the specific thing you're looking for in stock. And yeah, so you can also, of course, order them on Amazon and get them on June 15th when they're released. But if you need them now, try Target. I think they're also starting to show up at Walmart, GameStop, other locations like that. Okay, let's take a look at Circus Baby. This is an amazing figure that McFarlane Toys has produced. There's so much detail going on here. I love the detail on the head. While some of you are disappointed, I know, that these don't have opening faceplates, that would have been totally unrealistic to try and do at this size, but I think they did a really great compromise by having these black grooves that are very visible on the figures to kind of show where it would come apart if it could. Baby looks really accurate to how she looks in the game and the trailer, and just this super creepy head. Really phenomenal mold and paint job from McFarlane Toys. We've also got some interesting new pieces here on Circus Baby for her shoulder kind of ruffles as well as her skirt. So unlike Funtime Foxy, whose tail was attached permanently to the back of the leg piece, this skirt is an independent piece, similar to what we've seen in Lego minifigures, but I think that's the first time we're really seeing that for a McFarlane Toys figure. Similarly, we've got the shoulder piece, which is kind of like epaulets. Got a new custom bib, which has the speaker slash fan slash whatever, as well as great painting and sculpting for that. For some reason, this always seems to go crooked once you attach everything else. Like, it looks great now, and then push it down. Mine always just goes a little bit crooked. There's a lot that you're putting on the neck here with the upper head, the lower jaw, the shoulder pads, and the torso bib. Yeah, so I don't know what it is, but you can kind of see the torso bib is a little bit askew there, and that just happens every time I tighten it down. I can't figure out how to stop that. But also want to point out these shoes are new pieces. The lower leg piece, most of the animatronics have been reusing a few different lower legs, but Baby gets custom new ones for her shoes, which look great. Her hand is the same that we've seen on the Toy and Funtime animatronics, except the hand that holds the microphone is the same as all the Freddy hands that hold microphones, just in white, so very similar. And I think, yeah, the arms are the same that were used for Funtime Freddy and Funtime Foxy, just differently painted. So here's a look at Baby with Funtime Foxy and Funtime Freddy. All of the Funtime animatronics that we have so far together for fun, though I guess we technically should go like this, because this is kind of their arrangement from the trailer when they're all having fun. Sorry, no Ballora yet, but probably in Wave 4.
Hi all, we're going to sing a song for you. It's called Happy Death Day. Happy Death Day to you.
Bon Bon and I are gonna join in too! Happy Death Day to everybody!
I don't have an official voice. I guess I can talk like whenever I want to talk like. This is the weirdest voice ever. Hoo-hoo! Happy Death Day!
And here's a look at the build itself, Circus Control. Obviously a very important location in the game, since that's kind of where you start and go back to a lot. They did a great job with the console here, representing all the dials and levers and such on it. These two creepy puppet doll things that are just hanging on the window, well done. They got the colors of the spotlights right, lots of random pipes around. The overall look and feel of this is kind of like really accurate to the game, so it works. Of course, Circus Baby doesn't really spend a lot of time here, but this is kind of like when we got The Office with Golden Freddy. They just wanted to give us a main location from the game and a character we didn't have yet, so that works out really well, I think. Again, I think Wave 4 of Five Nights at Freddy's will probably give us even more sister location characters and locations. Locations. The stage right and stage left sets don't really connect with this in any meaningful way, but you can put those together and put Baby in front if you kind of want to recreate a little bit of the trailer. And they do have the same general aesthetics with the gray floors and great pieces all over. I will say this is a really great way, pun intended, to get lots of these great tiles, which are fun and could be used in a lot of different builds. Ooh, there was another part that I thought was really cool in this set. Let me show you. So this is a like hinge. Whoop. This is basically the equivalent of a hinge brick that's only a 1x1 shape. Normally in Lego, the smallest it would come for this would be like a 1x2. So this is really nice in being a small piece that can do the same basic hinging thing. So again, that's one thing that's interesting about getting McFarlane Toys sets, is seeing pieces that they've invented that aren't in Lego sets and wanting to steal them for builds. Also the stuff on the fire extinguisher, these really interesting kind of pipe elements that fit together and could theoretically be used in a lot of different ways. So a couple fun pieces discovered while building this set. While I do think this is a pretty good representation of the area from the game, I do have a few criticisms of this set that I wanted to talk about. One is this wall over here, which is attached at an angle, is pretty loose and easy to knock over, and the gap here bothers me because I kept feeling it felt like I should have been able to angle this in a way that there was no gap, but there doesn't seem to really be a good way to do that based on the connection points that exist. So that was just annoyed the kind of perfectionist in me, and also just the wall is just a little bit more wobbly. The windows are also interesting. So they're built from each like a flimsy kind of piece of plastic that's actually folded and then connected, and it doesn't really connect super well. So you can see there's these gaps here. So even if you try to push it down, the window inevitably pushes that up. So that led to this whole wall section being a little unstable in terms of it falls apart of itself a lot easier than is ideal, and like pieces pop off. So it would have been nice to see these as like kind of just normal window bricks of this size. You know, we did get some window bricks in the Nightmare with Chica, and it would have been, I think, maybe better if they just had a large window piece like this, or a couple of these put together for that. The look is good here. I mean, even the security office with Springtrap, which just had a big open hole, just worked a little bit better than these window pieces. I like that they're trying to give us a window here without probably molding a new expensive piece, but in practice it's just not the best building experience, or just stable for like playing or even displaying. Those windows cause some problems. So I did want to point out that. The other thing I need to talk about is gray. So McFarlane Toys has a few different variants of gray, and I have trouble telling them apart, and their instructions are not super consistent about that. So I'm going to go on a long rant about gray and how it's represented in McFarlane's instructions. I've met the McFarlane Toys employees, some of them. I know they're all hardworking people who want the best, but I had an unpleasant experience building this because of the instructions not being the easiest to follow. So if you don't want to hear me rant about the color gray, you can tune out now. If you do want to listen, buckle up. So, one thing I want to talk about with this build and the instructions for this set is I got super confused at step 5. One thing that I've talked about with McFarlane Toy sets before that came up again for me in this build is that I have a hard time telling apart their different colors. So, can you see this step 5 here? So, what you're supposed to do in this step is add a 1x2 plate and a 1x2 tile, which seem to be dark gray and light gray, onto the side there. Easy, right? However, I don't have any 1x2 plates in light gray. I have them in this dark gray, but that doesn't seem to match the color in the photo. Because if you look at the photo, there's a 1x4 brick there in light gray. This color, it's the only piece that color comes in, and the plate being added seems to be the same color, but I only have 1x2 plates in dark gray. So first of all, I spent a long time looking for a light gray 1x2 plate. I couldn't find it in the pile, so I ended up sorting all of my pieces like this just to check to make sure I wasn't missing this piece. I even checked the inventory to see, oh, is there supposed to be a 1x2 plate in light gray and dark gray? And the only 1x2 plate in the thing kind of still looks like light gray here, and it says there's only one of them, but I have two darker gray 1x2 plates. Are those the right ones? To further complicate matters, well, I was like, okay, let me use context to figure out what color that piece should be. Is it light gray that matches that? Or is it lighter than this piece here? And I was like, okay, well, what colors do I have 1x2 tiles in? There's a dark gray and a dark gray and a light gray. So is it supposed to be the darker gray that goes with this? Or because it's dark gray here, or is it supposed to be the darker gray, almost black, because it's supposed to be darker than the thing there? Is it supposed to match the other tiles that are over there? I don't know. Grays and blacks have always been problematic in instructions, whether it was Lego or this, but further complicating matters. So you might think, oh, Dave, that's black. That's not dark gray. No, because this is black. So black, dark gray, regular dark gray, light gray. There's no white in this set, but, well, she's white. So this array of blacks to gray, and you'd be like, oh, well, does it matter if just some of the pieces are just come in different colors when they're molded differently? But no, these are specifically two different colors. So I'm not used to having this many grays. It's hard to tell them apart in the instructions. I know this is a huge rant about like a really minor thing, but that's kind of what a lot of this channel ends up being, right? Is a really detailed analysis of a small thing that impacts the building experience. So I did want to talk through my confusion, because I expect some of you trying to put this set together might also get confused about what color pieces are. Yeah, and you know what was even more that I spent time doing, so I looked through the part build in the thing, but then there was also a revised part build, which is like, oh, well, let me check the revised sheet. But the only difference on the revised sheet was the difference between this 1x4 graded tile. The original said there were 3. The revised said there were 4, which is accurate, there are 4. But the revised also is not a full color printing, so it was confusing to look at because like that red thing was now gray, and I didn't realize that at first, so I get even more confused about colors. Long way of saying I got a little confused during this build. Even me as an expert builder, I sometimes get confused. I've had that issue a little bit more with McFarlane sets than I have with Lego sets. And that's just the honest truth, and I wanted to share that. Rant about shades of gray continued, the sequel. So now that I'm at step 13 and 14, I can kind of see what gray I'm supposed to use. So like you eventually do figure it out because there's only a certain number of clips, but now I have to go back and switch out some of the tiles from before, which means taking it apart, which is a super unintuitive, unfun part of the process, because, yeah, now I have to like take this off to get that one off, because that matches that. It's still confusing though, because that is shown as lighter in the instructions, so that's all wrong. But because I understand that this gray should match up here, what I still don't know is which color is this 1x8 supposed to be? Is it supposed to be this lighter gray that matches up with that? Or is it supposed to be this darker gray, which I used on the underside here, but I don't know. Is that darker gray one supposed to be out here or back there? It's hard to tell because you can't see a side-by-side comparison of them. The grays aren't consistent in how they're used in some places. And then like this gray that you see through the window is darkened in this thing because it's through a window, and I don't know, gray. Rant of the Grays Part 3. in addition to light gray, darker gray, there's also a difference between two kinds of light gray, yellowish light gray and bluish light gray. I don't know how well you can tell the difference between the yellowish and the bluish. It's super subtle. I'm kind of colorblind. I'm an anomalous trichromat. It's basically a fancy way of saying red, yellow, colorblind, but my areas of trouble are usually around shades of yellow and orange. Anyway, I have a lot of trouble telling apart these two grays, the bluish gray and the yellowish gray. Maybe other people it's like the difference between red and green or blue and red, I don't know. It's super subtle for me, and I didn't even notice when I was sorting, when I was specifically paying attention to gray shades, that there were two grays. But as I was building, it was noticeable enough here that I then realized, oh, I need to find the other gray. So Lego has a yellowish gray and a bluish gray, but yellowish gray is just the old gray that they don't use anymore, and bluish gray is new gray. So you never have to deal with it in one set. So that looks better. But I'm still now I'm unsure, is this gray right? Or wait, there's a yellowish jumper, which I couldn't tell the difference between, so maybe those bluish gray pieces need to come up now. Again, just kind of these small things that make the building experience a little more confusing and unpleasant than what I generally like to have, because I'm confused. Grays. Gray's rant. Rant about the color gray, part 4, Gray's Anatomy. Okay, so in this step, building all these gray things, and these 1x2 tiles are the bluish gray as opposed to the yellowish gray, and it's noticeable. Like if you look closely at the instructions, that's bluish, that's yellowish. But in that same instance, there is only a bluish 1x6 plate here, but it looks yellowish here. So it's like even when it is distinguishable, it's not always right. I mean, that goes back to the thing earlier with the which darker gray goes here. By the way, the pieces back here are yellowish gray, even though those pieces also exist in bluish light gray and are used elsewhere, but at first I mix and match them, and maybe it doesn't matter because that's all covered up. But it's confusing. I'm confused. Have I said that word enough? All right. Gray. Gray Rant, Part 5, 50 Shades of Gray. Now, as I approach one of the final steps, step 46, do I finally understand where that gray 1x8 tile should have gone. No, it should not have gone under there, matching these brackets, which are also wrong. These brackets should be here, this 1x8 tile should be here, and this one should be down there. But I can't only tell this now, because I was so confused by grays. And you know what? I'm just going to put the wrong gray piece up there, and it's going to bother me. But I don't want to redo that whole section. Gray. All of that being said, I do think this is a nice set for representing the thing it does from the game and for giving us a really great Circus Baby figure. One thing that became really apparent while building this set is that McFarlane Toys is still first and foremost a figure company. They started by making action figures, they've branched into construction toys, and while I think their constructible figures are phenomenal, a lot of the details around the actual constructible set are not always as fine-tuned as I'm used to from Lego sets. I think this set having an angled wall shows off some of the limitations of their relative inexperience with construction sets, as well as a lot of the confusion around the colors in the instructions. Just really highlights that they still are learning and growing as a company. And while I'm excited to see them continue to do that, it did lead to a frustrating experience for me. But again, most of you probably just want Circus Baby if you're watching this video, so this is a pretty easy no-brainer to go out and buy if you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan. And if you're not, you probably weren't going to buy this set anyway. So there you go, my full uncensored thoughts on Circus Control and the color gray. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to Brick 101, and click the end card to watch even more of my Five Nights at Freddy's videos.